Good morning, everybody. My name is Marty Forrest. We are here today on the Wednesday Wisdom Call. My website is Hello Extraordinary Life. You can check that out and get your free guide to reprogramming your negative self-talk right on the landing page. You can check out all the other things I offer. All of these calls are recorded. I shifted it to what I really like and what resonates for me. Someone called me a soul coach. He just flippantly said, "Oh, you're the soul coach." And I went, "Oh, that resonated. Like in my bones, that resonated." So it's evolving. It's evolving, and I've been wanting to change that. Steps to reprogram your negative self-talk, and I came up with the other day of I help people clear the mental chatter or clear the static. And I thought, it's kind of resonating. It's a little better than what I have, but anyway, so it's about getting aligned with ourselves and learning to love ourselves more, and that's what that guide is, steps to help you get there. I am a one-on-one coach also, so if you want private coaching, I'm available for that. I'm also launching a course, which I'm planning to start Saturday. However, it could get pushed out one more week because half of my people were iffy about Saturday because they had other things going on. And even though they're all recorded, all the calls of the 6-week course are recorded, it's better if I can have at least most of the people there on the first call to get to know each other and get that rolling in a bonding kind of way. So I may actually push it out. And today at 10 o'clock, I'm going to do the drawing for the scholarship. I'm going to do that live on Facebook. All right. That was a lot of information. Today I am talking about, I thought I would give a snippet of what part of what I do in the course. And one of the things that we talk about in there is our ancestral trauma that we carry on, our family trauma that we carry on. And I've been studying more and reading more and more about it, and scientific evidence that validates what I have created out of my own teaching and my life experience, what I have learned. You know, I've been taught and I've experienced in my own world the ancestral trauma that happens and how we carry that on and how we live it. And if we personally don't do something to make it different, we pass it on. And sometimes we take on stuff that we don't even know is ours. That was the other piece that started to hit home and I started to pay attention to. So the ancestral trauma, the behaviors in our life that go, why do I do this thing? You know, we know some of our experiences from when we were children. We know those. We remember them. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have possibly blocked it. That's how powerful our mind is we will block it. What happens is it gets locked into our unconscious and then comes out in our behaviors. And if we do something or we get triggered by someone or something that happens in our life and we look at ourselves going, what just happened and why am I reacting this way? Why is it such a strong reaction? It's probably something that we've harbored in our unconscious that we don't even know about. It's all programming, right? Our body is a blueprint, and it's all programming, and we get programmed from, at a cellular level even, from our parenting, our parents, how they raised us, from how they were raised. So it just gets passed on. That teaching and that programming, it gets passed on from each generation to the next. And what I've been learning more than that is that some people, probably many of us, take on our ancestral trauma that we may not even know about. We may not even know what the trauma is. What indicates that it's a trauma we took on from our ancestors is that it's something that we do, or some reaction or some belief or some behavior that we do that's out of proportion to our own life experience. We have reactions to things, like people have let's see, a deep fear of, let's say, spiders, snakes, those kinds of things. And I know a woman who couldn't even see I think it was a snake on a T-shirt. She just had this phobia. Well, I suspect that's nothing to do with her life, where she would have this fear, that such a deep phobia of snakes. I suspect, and in looking back after studying more of this, that was taken on from somebody in her family. Some of the other examples were people who felt like they were crowded, they were going to die, they were going to be incinerated. I know these are extreme words. They're out of proportion to this person's life. Like, that hasn't happened in her life, but what she learned was her ancestors were in the Jewish camps and they were incinerated. So she's taken on the trauma. It's manifested in her life to her cellular level. I'm looking at my own life, and I'm doing some work about where does mine come from, because I have this thing of I can't save them. And I just got to the root of that yesterday. I can't save them, and I thought, why do I have this? Who am I trying to save? What am I trying to save? And I'm not sure about that yet. I don't know what all my ancestor history is. I know a little bit of it. But I can say that there's nothing in my life that I had to save. It's out of proportion to my life experience. So there's some ancestral trauma that I get to look at and go, oh, and once I can see that, I'm able to release how I am carrying it and how I'm living it. Because it's not mine. It's not mine to carry on. So that's what I've been working on now. The things that we gain from our parenting and how they raised us, those things get implanted in our brain and at a cellular level. When our mother, so here's another thing I learned, when our mother is pregnant with you, with me, at 5 months, all of her eggs are formed that she will ever have in her lifetime. Julia just having a baby, Lisa, you've had a child, so all your eggs were formed at 5 months in the womb, which means your child is already there as an egg, being imprinted with whatever trauma you've experienced and whatever trauma your mother experienced. So that's how this, at a cellular level, gets passed on. Quite fascinating. I'm quite fascinated by this because I know the trauma we inherit from our family, from my mom and my dad, and from your parents, or whoever raised you. And we get those messages that go in our brain, and we're like, why do I think this? And why do I feel this? And the brain just, it's a pathway. I call it the rat wheel. Get on that rat wheel, and we just spin that rat wheel, and it's the same groove in our brain from the messaging and the programming from our parents. That's current day lifetime. Until we start to actually look at what that is and decide, is it working or not? Is it effective or not? Because we don't even recognize that it's not ours because it's our own voice. At some point in our life, whatever the messages were, whether it was words, their energy, the look. I know some of us are familiar with the look. All we had to do was get a look, and we would stop whatever behavior we were doing. That's all programming for us. Ultimately, those messages become our own. We, at some point, usually very young, take ownership. Now, the voice that was once our parents is our own voice. We don't differentiate that. That's not actually my message. That was from my parents. I learned it from them. Now it's about looking at, is it working? It gave us survival skills. A lot of those messages taught us how to live and survive, and we created protective mechanisms to do just that, survive, in whatever our circumstances might have been. often those survival skills that we implemented as children, they're not necessarily needed anymore, and they're probably not serving us to have healthy relationships today. So taking a look at where those come from, possibly giving it back. It's not mine to begin with. It's what I inherited through teaching and what they learned. That's how it gets passed along, generation to generation to generation. And I'm my, what's the word I want? Not sure what the word is. I want to say belief or purpose is that what I know is that if people are here listening and people are joining my course or coaching with me, that we are the ones to break the cycle. We are the ones to change and make it different going forward. And when we do that, we change our whole generation. When we heal the generations. Soul level, energetic level, personality. We may never see that. Like in my ancestors that are dead, I may never see that. But I stop the cycle going forward. And when people join me, you get to learn how to stop that cycle going forward. But it heals. It's a ripple effect. So I believe even those ancestors that have crossed, they get healing also, because they're on their own journey in that spirit world. So when we heal the people around us. Not like us personally, but our shifting of our cellular level and the energy that we carry around in our bodies and our beliefs and the thoughts, our programming in our thoughts, when we start to change those and we begin that healing process, we heal the world around us. And it's powerful. There's some powerful tools that I get to share and offer in my program and in the coaching that create a space and a shift in perspective for other people to be able to do that too. In a softer, easier way than maybe when we don't know how to do it, we keep hitting that same brick wall. And sometimes when we do know how to do it, we're trying to figure it out on our own. So I did a lot of that, trying to figure it out on my own, which is why I created this course. And why I love my coaching so much is because I want to be able to help people have an easier path than I did, because I seem to be thick and hard-headed, and hit that, just continue to do the same thing over and over, that definition of insanity. Do the same thing over and over and over and expect different results. Until I finally, somewhere along the way, heard, I got some help. I listened, I read a lot. I was always seeking some other way, and somewhere in myself feeling like I had to do it by myself. And I know today that's not true, which is why I'm on the path that I'm on, because I want to help other people. So I do these calls. Some people, that's enough for them. They get enough information from the calls, and they get some changes in their own life by implementing some of the tools. So I wanted to give that context around this. And then in my 6-week course is where we get to travel into some of the tools about how to start to recognize the things that we've taken on that's not ours. And then how do we begin to heal that? So we get into that inner child, some of the inner child healing and taking care of the little one that lives inside of us. We all have that little person that lives inside of us. And when we learn how to care for her and him, I know there's some men that listen too, we learn to care for that little one and begin to heal that relationship with the little one, then we begin the deeper layers of healing for ourselves and our families. And with that came the learning how to honor myself as a woman in this world and love myself at those levels that I didn't know were possible, and to be able to do what I'm doing as a result of some of that healing. Because it took that for me to stop living my life in that place of fear that someone was going to get me or someone was going to hurt me. And I stopped living in that place of, I was certain, this is something I carried as a secret for a long time, I was certain that if you knew me, that you would loathe me as much as I loathed me. And that today is not at all the truth of my life. I can look in the mirror and I like the woman I see today. And I love to look and go, oh, you're pretty cool. You've done some pretty amazing things. And I get to keep doing that as a result of what I've done and then created out of that. So I see it. 9:25. I will stop right there and open it up for you to share. Any insights? Something resonate for you? Something you're taking away?
Well, that's Lisa. When you were talking about the programming from your parents, which me and you connect a lot on,
Mhm.
I was just looking at what's going on in my life right now, and I've gotten angry with my parent lately from this move here. So some of the tools you've taught me about looking, what does that little girl inside need? It's like, yeah, I just realized, okay, I'm in the same situation again. My childhood, we moved so many times. Mm-hmm. I can't count how many different schools I went to. And here I am again. In a new place, and this time with my mother, and it's like, okay. Maybe that's why I'm snapping here and there. Because the anger is coming out, and I don't even know why I'm angry. Yes. And it's not her. So maybe this is just childhood stuff coming up that I got to heal again.
It's deeper layers of healing.
Yeah.
That's what shows up. And what gets touched is the wound. So there's that wound that happened when you were a child. Whether it's real or imagined today, it's being touched. And then your whatever mechanism you've put in place, your anger and your shortness and that's what's coming out. That's helped you survive as a child.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And maybe it's not helping you survive today, but it's still the same. That's the programming. Yeah. Anything you would like to share, Julia?
Well, I don't know if you can hear my baby crying in the background.
It's okay.
It's nap time. He's fighting it.
I bet.
I don't know. It's not. I've been sitting here trying to think. I'm like, okay, what do I have any fears of anything? Do I get mad? There triggers that make me angry that I can link to, my parents and my upbringing, but I can't really. The only thing I can think of is I lack patience sometimes, and I feel like when I was growing up, my dad was very. He was patient, but he wasn't overly You know, some people have the patience of a saint,
Right.
which I admire, but I don't have that. So
Right.
that's the only thing that I could really come up with in just sitting here and thinking and listening, which is something I need to work on with a baby.
Oh, yeah, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the seeds are planted, and now you'll be paying attention. You're like, oh, where did that come from? Is that mine, or is that something I learned from my parents?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. I'm so glad you could join us today.
Yeah.
We're off on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Any final comments before I stop the recording? And
No.
all right. Thank you.